so glad to see you on here because gosh, there's so much to discuss with this movie. It's one of those things that comes along. It's such a special story. You must just think, I got to do this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, when you read the script, what was it that just really drew you in? Because there's a lot to that I think you could probably relate to, even though it's a different time, different place. It's
Mhm.
still there's something in there that resonates today.
Yes, absolutely. I think a big part of it for me was, well, throughout the script, obviously the abruptness and the cruelty of the loss that happens, like that's very what's a compelling read and also just a horrible truth of the time. And also I had access to journal entries during the prep for the film. So I was privileged enough to read them and sort of get into the headspace of what inspired the script. And yeah,
Yeah. And what do you suppose it is about that time that's just so endlessly fascinating to us? Because it seems like so long ago, but still today, we're always thinking about that time and just always want to hear stories from them.
yes, absolutely. So in Australia, like we learn a lot about the Anzacs and their
Mhm.
sacrifice. Um, the specific, I think it's just like it was when like the horrors of war really started to be like noted in diaries, and you could see it and you can connect it to a grandfather, a great grandfather. That that is definitely um, something that I think about certainly. But yeah, just the closeness of it, the closeness of it.
Mhm. Well, okay, and of course, the set seemed like it was very special. A great group of guys, but like also just when you grow up wanting to be in movies, and then there you are, like on a big set
Yeah,
like this, and in the costumes and
absolutely.
everything. Is there a certain day or scene or time that stood out to you, like where you're looking around, going, "I'm always going to remember this."
Honestly, I think the first moment, because we'd heard about the trenches, we'd seen footage of they dug the hundreds of meters of trenches, but then going there the first day, before shooting and doing rehearsal there and seeing the trenches in real life, and like we had a few hours to sit there with all the other lads and talk, and just it was rainy and it was overcast and it was wet and the mud was building up, and it was pretty surreal. It's pretty surreal to see.
Yeah. Well, you've had some great roles and a really cool career, and people have been looking up to you and going, "See, that's what I want to do. I want to have that kind of career." So, what kind of advice would you give them?
I'd say I'd say really soak it in. Like when you're in the environment, like just listen and enjoy it, and uh yeah, learn from the people you see.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, my co-host is Drew Pearson, one of our great Dallas Cowboys in American football here. Caught the
Right
Hail
on.
Mary. We all know the Hail Mary term. And he wanted me
Yeah,
to
yeah,
make sure
yeah.
that I asked you your Hail Mary moment, which is that moment in your life or career where you just had to go for it and it worked out for you. What do you suppose that was for
Ooh,
you?
that's an interesting question. I think, which is crazy to go back this young, because I don't really remember my childhood that well, but um like the whole reason I got into acting was because like I did dancing when I was younger and I was terrible at it. My sisters did it. My mom put me in. She was like, it's exercise, it's socializing, etc. And then at the dancing place, because I was so bad, they were like, we do TV commercial auditions as well. And mom said, I made that decision to give them a go. And if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have had the experiences that I've had today. So that's definitely a big moment for me that I
Yeah.
thank my 6-year-old self for for doing.
Absolutely. Well, then, part of that is just that success mindset, which I guess is innate in you. And so, is there something that you tell yourself that kind of keeps you on the right path, even when things are tough? Because it is a tough business.
It definitely, definitely. I mean, uh, I'd say to just remember, the people I have around me, my family, my sisters, my mom, uh, remember that, that's like the being on set is great, and, having those experiences is wonderful. But there's also, there's the other part of life that you should definitely indulge into and yeah, enjoy.
Yeah, of course. Well,
Take it
but then
granted.
again, people always remember, those fun roles too. And of course, a lot of us have the Peter Pan. We never grow up. So, and you are Peter Pan, so always, right? Well, that's the beautiful part, is to be able to, to do something that you wanted to do as a kid, and then continue on as that. And so, it's still fun to you, right?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Like every film's a new journey, a new experience, and there's hundreds of new people to meet and learn from. And then the sets that you're on, like Pan, the incredible Pan sets where they built all these pirate ships and they built these incredible things. And then you go to Before Dawn and they built these trenches hundreds of meters. Like the practical stuff is definitely it's definitely like an awe moment when you get on set
Mhm.
and see the what they've built. Like that's a pinpoint. Yes, that is wow. That is like um something very tangible.
Yeah. And what do you hope that people will get out of this movie? Because there's so much to think about with this one.
Yes, absolutely. I think the like seeing and remembering the like what the Anzacs went through and or
Mhm.
even learning, for American audiences, learning what the Anzacs experienced. And also just the like in a micro way, like the beauty of friendship and family and like, writing letters home, like talking about family and spending time with your friends and camaraderie, stuff like that.
And it's hard to put yourself in that kind of mindset too, because you start to think, "Man, there are people my age and younger that were out
Right.
there
That was
doing
the
this."
when I first read the diaries, that was like oh, this guy is 18. I'm probably younger because they'd put their ages younger so they could join.
Mhm.
Um, and like reading that when I was like 19, oh, my goodness, it's just
Yeah.
a completely different world.
Hmm. And it makes you have a whole different outlook, a whole different perspective on
Mhm.
and those that fight for us, right?
Yes, absolutely. The yeah, no, it's
Yeah. Was there something that you learned about yourself, or even about something in history that stood out to you, that you think will always stay with you?
I think um I guess this goes a little bit selfish, but I think the experience of being on set and being in the mud and the wet and the cold, like it was definitely the hardest like shooting
Hmm.
experience in terms of like physically the hardest that it pushed me to my limits, I guess, like like the where I thought I could be, like having the wet shoes for 8 hours a day. I didn't know I could, but we with the help of like being with friends and being on the set and knowing that everyone around you was experiencing the exact same thing, and also the the boys back in the day, the Anzacs back in the day, they experienced that, but they didn't have a home or a hot shower to go back to. So just sort of perspective and yeah, what to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, after this, I can't wait to see what you got coming up next for us. What are we going to see you in?
Well, after shooting, I shot Craven the Hunter
Mhm.
was after shooting, which was very different, independent Australian feature, both equally uh like learning experiences and interesting, but you're very different, very different.
Oh, that's great. Well, we're so excited to tell everybody to watch this, because they're going to learn something, they're going
Thank
to feel
you.
something, and definitely look forward to talking to you again soon. Appreciate your time today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.